Hi, my name is Lauren Perez. I'm a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Illinois, and welcome to the Traveling Therapist. What I've decided to do as a licensed clinician is to provide some of the knowledge and some of the experiences that I have been through over the course of now 7 years working in mental health. I want to share some of those stories, and I want people to know that there are other ways, healthy ways, better ways to handle situations than the people who I've encountered. A lot of my experience in mental health is in crisis intervention. I do a lot of work with suicidal children and adolescents, and in a lot of cases, adults. And I work as an individual and family counselor. I have a private practice in the county of Lake here in Illinois, and I work for a community mental health center as a part of the crisis team. Since this is my first video, it's the introduction video. I wanted to put this out first because if you think you might want to hear what I have to say, I did want to put some trigger warnings and some, just preemptive information so that as you're watching, things don't come as a surprise. For example, given that I work a lot in crisis intervention, a lot of the stories that I'm going to tell involve suicidal thoughts, gestures, attempts, plans, homicidal thoughts, gestures, attempts, plans, self-injury, cutting, burning, head banging, picking. These are all the forms of self-harm that I work with people who are struggling with consistently. A lot of my stories center around self-harm. So if you have a hard time listening to a story about a teenager who is cutting with blunt screws, for example, maybe you don't want to listen to my vlog or watch my vlog. There might be some that are a little less detailed and gory or vulgar. I promise I'm not going to go into the details of what the skin looked like, but in order to tell a fair story and in order to really shed light on what I've experienced and what people in our society are experiencing, I want to be transparent and talk about it as openly and honestly as I can. So if you have a self-injury trigger, don't listen. If you have a depression and trauma trigger, if hearing about sexual abuse, hearing about verbal abuse, physical abuse, being in intimate partner violence, if listening to those types of stories is triggering for you, you don't want to listen to you don't want to watch my vlog, you don't want to listen to me talk. If hearing stories about anxiety and how post-traumatic stress impacts people and what pushes a person to a place where they might want to hurt themselves or someone else, this is not the vlog for you. And I'm not going to, within each video, post or put a break in, trigger warning, because then I'll be doing that every 15 seconds. It's not realistic. So here's my first video, my intro video. I would love for there to be as many subscribers out there who need the help, but I don't want to open new wounds or old wounds for those of you out there who are struggling in the same way. But if you can get past the stories will be brief. Again, I have to stress, I don't want it to be overemphasized as though I'll be talking about these horrible experiences that my clients have gone through for a lengthy period of time. No, we're talking like a 10 or 15 minute quick synopsis of what my crisis evaluation was and how I handled it and what the end result was. But even 5 to 15 minutes can be too much for some. But if you can listen to the story, really understand and get to the heart of what was happening, I really do think it'll be beneficial for a lot of you out there watching or listening to know that mental health diagnoses, conditions, episodes of depression and deep dips or really high manic highs, they are more common than our society lets on. And I don't understand what the stigma still is behind that. I remember growing up, nobody talked about being depressed, and if you were depressed, it was a big deal. It was a problem. You can't hang out with that kid or that kid because their mother's depressed. But I don't understand what that's about now. So that's one of the driving factors as to why I decided to do this. Let's blast the stigma. I work in the field. This is my life. 7 days a week. There are some days I work 7 straight days. There are some days I work only 5 days. Most of the time I'm working 6. 6 is my average days per week that I work between working full-time and having my private practice. I also want to put out the preemptive trigger warning. I curse. Sometimes the only way to really get to the heart and soul of a story, or to really share with someone listening how serious it was, or even how funny it was, I say fuck when I'm happy and I say fuck when I'm mad. So if you don't like hearing fuck, this is not the fucking podcast for you. My goodness. This is not the fucking vlog for you. Just so that you're aware. I don't want to read any comments later on. She curses too much, or she didn't tell us that there was going to be trauma, there was going to be stories of self-harm and depression and anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder. There's all of that here. But what you're also going to get here is an understanding of what a person in my position does to help someone struggling in one of those areas. What you're also going to get is a little bit of information as to how I would have counseled that client in a one-on-one. Because not everybody that I do the crisis work with becomes a personal client. They go to other people. So I go out and I do 50 crisis evaluations over the course of a season, and maybe 10 of those will come to me. But the other 40 are going to go to the rest of the people on my team. If I even take any, depending on if my caseload is full or not. But that's a non-issue and nothing to do with this story. But you're going to get information. I don't think it's fair that a person struggles in this area and then does not have access to the follow-up care, the preventative care that they need to make sure they do not experience another episode. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone reach out to me, whether it's on Psychology Today or through my website, which is ewaillinois.org, EWAILLINOIS.org. I have a form on there for people to reach out, and if they've got questions, if they want to do an inquiry about how to get involved in individual counseling, if they're interested in doing counseling via FaceTime, I do that throughout the state. If you live in Lake County, I can bill insurance only if you live in Lake County. If you want to do video sessions via FaceTime, then that's an out-of-pocket fee because most insurances don't cover that. Some of them do, but none of the ones that I'm paneled on do that. So, but I offer that at a very, very reasonable price. I don't charge the 3 figures that a lot of people would charge to do counseling. But for a 40-minute session, you reach out to me and we'll figure out a good number for you. But that's how long I run my FaceTime calls. But we'll get to that later. But in that, either they're reaching out to me through Psychology Today or they send me an inquiry on my website. They let me know, hey, I'm using my job's EAP. I don't have benefits outside of that. They're giving me 6 sessions or they're giving me 8 sessions. And I really need to get through this problem. And this problem that I'm having is debilitating. And it's keeping me from going to work. It's keeping me from parenting my children. It's keeping me from being a supportive wife or husband or a helpful sibling or child. I need to get through this, or at least learn how to deal with it within 6 to 8 sessions. And that's not realistic, but I do what I can with the time that I have. Having gone through that as many times as I have, having worked with a client who I had very limited access to over and over and over again, it put me in this mindset where I feel like I could release some of the information that I have on how to counsel people in a limited capacity and give it to people for free. So if I can help one person not want to commit suicide or not act on an ideation, then I think I've done more than most. It's important for people to have knowledge. There's nothing wrong with knowledge. And somebody who thinks it's a good idea to withhold information because they can't monetize it, they're a fucking asshole. I don't need to monetize everything that I do. My job is not going anywhere. There's enough people in this state, in the county, in the city. I work in the loop as well for another counseling organization. there are enough people around here that the information that I'm going to provide is not going to diminish my capacity or my ability to have clients. What it's going to do is reach the ears and the eyes of people who are ashamed to ask for help, who don't have the finances to ask for help, don't have the means, who don't have access, who live in rural areas and cannot commute an hour and a half to get to a therapist, or didn't know that they had the ability to do video therapy with anybody. But you can do it with me if you live in the state of Illinois, because this is where I'm licensed. And as I get licensed in other states, I'm absolutely going to open that up to other people, to other states, that they can reach out. You know, I can send you an invoice through Square, or I can send you a quick pay through. I can make a request through Chase, or if you have an Apple device, because that's what I'm doing. That's the modality that I'm using to do the counseling. If you have a Mac, an iPhone, an iMac, I can just send you a request through messages, and you can pay right away. We can find a way around things. And again, it's not going to be an arm and a leg, but if you would like that service, please send me a request through my website, ewaillinois.org. But for those of you who don't live in the state of Illinois and are here for information, you know, I can't wait to share with you what I have. The reason why I'm calling myself the traveling therapist, and again, the reason why I'm doing this while I'm driving, I hope that doesn't bother you guys out there, but it's the only way that I can really get this information out. I commute, like I said before, to and from the loop a couple times a week, and I have about 45 minutes to an hour where I'm sitting here just listening to podcasts or music, and I have a lot of things on my mind, so I figured I would take this opportunity to really put those thoughts in a concrete way and then share them. I often spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to talk about with the clients I have lined up. What are we going to focus on? Or I think a lot about the clients that I saw previously, you know, especially my crisis clients, the ones that I have to hospitalize, especially the ones that really linger with me are the ones that I couldn't just let go home because I wasn't confident that they would be safe. I'm going to talk about all those things here. I'm going to tell you what they went through. I'm going to tell you what I had to do, how I got them help, and then we're going to talk about what I would have done for them. If I was seeing this person one-on-one and had the ability to really spend some time with them, what are some of the areas that we would have focused on? What are the treatment modalities that I would have used to help them work through whatever their issue is? And we'll go over some of the coping tools that I would have used with that individual or those individuals. Sometimes I get a group of kids. It's a family. It's 3 or 4 children within a household who are all experiencing some level of crisis, and I have to evaluate all of them. That's happened more times than I think should, but that's just an indication of the state of our social affairs right now. So hopefully this will be useful to you, the person listening right now, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever is bothering you, whatever is troubling you, whatever has happened to you. You're not alone. You don't have to feel like you're by yourself. There are people out here who don't care about how much money we make. Trust me, I'm not living it up on a social worker salary. Those of us out here who do this because we genuinely care about people, we're here. And I want to make myself available to as many people as I can. If you have a topic, that's something that's happened to you, a question, just a comment, and you'd like for me to take a few minutes to ruminate on it while I'm driving and I'm videoing this, I have a separate setup on my website for, you know, questions, comments, inquiries. You can submit that there. They will come straight to my inbox, and I will read every single one of them. The ones that are relevant to the topic of what I'm talking about, I will absolutely comment on. If you write me about a dog, I'm not going to comment on dog mental health. That's just not what I do. If you write me about an experience you had at a restaurant, unless that restaurant experience was distressing and it caused PTSD or it's caused agoraphobia, social anxiety, you are having a hard time trusting people, then I'm not going to comment on it. It's got to be relevant. But if that did happen to you and you're still struggling with the aftermath of whatever the thing was, let me know and we'll talk about it. I hope to do this for a long time, you know, at least maybe 500 videos. I think I might, hopefully I'm not aiming too high, but like I said, I make this trip several times a week, and it's an hour, and this video might not be that long, but the ones afterward probably will be a lot longer, given that I'll actually have content to focus on. I wish that I could sit in an office in a quiet, contained environment and film this and put it online, but I can't afford it. I cannot really afford to sit in one spot and do this for free. I have to keep moving. I have to keep working, and my ability to sit still is very limited. I have to keep going from job to job to job. I spend a lot of time in my car, and for the time being, maybe one day I'll get a boom of clients, and then I can sit in my home office and I can film this. But when I'm not seeing clients, then I'm on my way to the Loop to see my other clients, or I'm in my car driving around the county doing crisis evaluations. Yeah, I wish I could limit myself to one job, but right now I've got 3 jobs, which is something I think people need to hear too. I get a lot of, you don't care about me, you don't care about what I'm dealing with, this is just a check to you. There's 1,000 things that I could do better, that I could do with my time that would pay me better, that would not leave a lasting mark on me personally, because when I know how to compartmentalize and put people's traumas aside after I'm done working with them. I don't take it home and I don't internalize it. But the really, really severe ones, they do last. I don't forget the sexual abuse cases that I work with. I don't forget the domestic violence cases that I work with. I don't forget the substance abuse cases that I work with. They don't tear me down, but I file them. I have a filing cabinet in my heart and in my mind for the severe cases. This isn't just a paycheck. I could have gotten an accounting degree and I could be making 6 figures doing very, very individualized work, and I didn't do that. I went into a field that would require me to be face-to-face with people a lot, require me to talk, and require me to actively listen, just to listen and not cut people off and always have to offer my 2 cents. People come to me for that. If you didn't want to go to a therapist to get some help, you wouldn't. If you didn't want an opinion of a therapist, you wouldn't go to that therapist to spend an hour or more, depending on what your arrangement is with that person. So yes, people do come to me for information and they come to me for guidance, and I offer it, but I do spend a lot of time listening. And that'll come across in the stories, because a lot of times I don't just get in and out within an hour when I do a crisis evaluation. Depending on what's going on, I will let that person, that family, those people talk as long as they need to, because it's often the first time that they had somebody who had an understanding of what that family, that individual, those people were dealing with. It's the first time that they've met someone who really had an understanding of what they were dealing with, who could listen and offer suggestions and not judge them. So they open up and they let it pour. And I feel thankful to be the person who could offer that to them. But I will try and release the video once a week. I'll do a lot more filming, but in terms of release, I want to have a lot built up so that in case something happens where I get sick, like I am now, I have something going on where I can barely breathe. So I sound very nasally. On the weeks where I'm sick, I won't record a new one. I'll just be able to pull from my log on the sick days. It's like a PTO log of vlogs. Or if I go on vacation, if I ever get to the place where I can afford to take a vacation with my family, then I'm going to be on vacation with my family. I'm not going to be recording or on my phone. So I guess I'm just looking ahead optimistically at what could be, what could come from this. I am looking for sponsorships as well. If you have a product, an idea, something you want me to reference or wear, then reach out. You can also reach out to me via my website. Send in the inquiries if you have a subscription or something like a partnership you'd like to work on. Just put that in the subject, and we'll coordinate from there. But again, I'm not charging for this information. This is going to be free. It's free. It's free now. It's on YouTube, and it's on my website. And I just want to increase access to as many people as I possibly can. But thank you for taking the time to listen to my intro video. If you feel like there was something that I didn't cover, please send me an inquiry on my website. I welcome feedback. I welcome the communication from people who are listening and comments. And I hope that this is beneficial to you all, because it feels beneficial to me. I feel like I'll be doing something positive with the information that I have. I went to undergrad and grad school, and I worked really hard to get to where I am today. And I don't believe in not sharing information. I don't believe in being stingy with knowledge. I don't see the point. I don't see the benefit. But I'm arriving to my destination. I'm about to park, and I appreciate your time. So thank you for listening, and I look forward to future content and future communication and all of the above. So thank you for your time. Take it easy. Be well.